Dog whimpers, lying flat on the snow, paws stretched across a mound. Soldier's flashlight beam hits the grave. Soldier whispers, "My God, who's down there?" Narrator, hours earlier, it was just another search. Until the K9 led them here. Fade to black. But what the dog uncovered, no one was ready to face. The night was bitter, the kind of cold that didn't just sting the skin but burrowed deep into the bone. Snow fell in slow, deliberate flakes, covering the world in silence. Every sound carried weight, the crunch of boots, the whistle of wind, the low exhale of breath clouding the air. The soldier adjusted his grip on the flashlight, the beam cutting through the endless dark of the forest. At his side, the black K9 trotted steadily, ears pricked forward, every movement purposeful, trained to notice what the human eye might miss. They'd been walking for hours. The mission was simple on paper: sweep this abandoned sector of the woods, respond to a faint distress signal picked up days ago, and return to base. But nothing about the night felt simple. The longer they walked, the more the soldier felt the forest pressing in, like it knew something he didn't. Then it happened. The dog froze. One paw raised, ears rigid, chest rising in a low, suppressed growl. The leash pulled tight against the soldier's wrist, and he nearly stumbled in the snow. "What is it, boy?" His voice was low, barely audible over the wind. The K9 ignored him, nose lifted to the air, nostrils flaring. Then it lowered its head, sniffing along the frozen ground, body tensed like a coiled spring. The soldier followed the dog's gaze and saw nothing. Just more snow, more endless black trees. He swept the flashlight slowly across the path, but the light revealed only untouched powder. Still, the dog pulled hard, dragging him towards something hidden beneath the silence. "Easy," he muttered, though his pulse was quickening. He'd learned long ago to trust the dog's instincts. Where he saw shadows, the K9 saw truth. They moved forward, the leash tugging with increasing urgency. The forest floor sloped gently downward, and the snow grew deeper, swallowing their boots. And then, just when the soldier thought the trail might lead to nothing more than another false alarm, the dog stopped dead. Its body lowered, pressing close to the ground, and it let out a sound the soldier had only heard a handful of times, a long, sorrowful whine. The soldier lifted the flashlight, and the beam landed on something odd. At first, it just looked like a mound of snow, irregular in shape, as though the storm had piled differently in this one spot. But the way the dog pressed against it, paws clawing at the edge, made his stomach twist. He crouched down, his gloved hand brushing away snow. The mound was compact, not loose. His fingertips met resistance. Hard-packed earth. His breath caught. It wasn't just a mound of snow. It was a grave. The K9 let out another whimper, lowering its chest to the ground, as though trying to cover the small, uneven shape with its own body. The soldier's throat went dry. "Dear God," he whispered. He reached for his radio but stopped. Something about the moment felt too fragile, too sacred to shatter with static and chatter. He stared at the dog, who now lay across the grave fully, head resting on its paws, as if to say, "This is where I belong. This is what I found." The soldier swallowed hard. He wanted to move closer, to dig, to confirm what he feared, but something inside him resisted. The dog's eyes met his, dark and pleading. "Not yet," those eyes seemed to say. "Not yet." The silence grew unbearable. The soldier felt his breath quicken, each inhale sharp against the cold. He looked around, half expecting movement in the shadows, a figure among the trees. Nothing. Only the dog, the grave, and the storm. And then, barely audible, carried on the wind like a thread of memory, he thought he heard it, a whisper. "Don't leave me." His chest tightened. He whipped the flashlight toward the sound, but the beam landed only on falling snow. His heart pounded so hard it hurt. Had he imagined it? The dog lifted its head, ears twitching, eyes locked on the same empty space. He wasn't alone in hearing it. The soldier's hand trembled around the flashlight. His instincts screamed to retreat, to call it in and wait for backup. But his heart told him to stay. He glanced down at the grave again, the dog now firmly stretched across it, refusing to move. Snow gathered on its fur, but it didn't flinch. Loyal. Unshakable. Guarding something that mattered more than warmth or safety. The soldier swallowed, his throat raw. "What did you find, boy?" No answer. Only the dog's steady breathing, the snow falling, and that phantom whisper lingering in the frozen air. And in that moment, a single question clawed at him, louder than the wind, sharper than fear. "If you were in my shoes, would you dare to uncover what the dog has found?" The flashlight flickered. The dog pressed harder against the earth. And for the first time that night, the soldier realized this was no ordinary search. This was something else. The soldier didn't move at first. He just stood there, hunched against the bitter cold, his breath rising in heavy clouds as he stared at the grave. His flashlight beam trembled across the mound, the glow catching on the dog's fur. The K9's eyes glistened, wide and unblinking, locked on him as though waiting for permission, waiting for acknowledgement that what it had found was real. His training told him to call it in. He should mark the spot, secure the area, and wait for the rest of the unit. But his gut told him something different. There was an urgency in the way the dog pressed against the earth, a desperation that felt almost human. He crouched lower, brushing away another layer of snow. His gloves were wet, icy crystals seeping through the fabric, but he ignored it. The more snow he cleared, the clearer the shape became, rounded, small, deliberately packed. It wasn't the size of a soldier's grave. It was smaller. Much smaller. His throat constricted. His mind tried to resist the thought forming, but the dog's behavior left little doubt. The K9 let out a sharp bark, sudden and jarring in the silence. The sound echoed through the trees, bouncing against the frozen trunks. The soldier flinched, his hand instinctively moving to the radio clipped to his vest. But again, he didn't call. Something about the weight of the forest made him feel like using that radio would betray the moment, disturb something sacred. Instead, he set the flashlight down in the snow so its beam cut diagonally across the grave, casting long shadows against the trees. He dug deeper, his hands moving faster now, the cold forgotten. The dog shifted, stepping back slightly but keeping its nose inches from the soil, breathing heavily, pacing in small circles. Each time the soldier paused, the dog nudged him, insistent. "Keep going." Minutes passed. His heart pounded in rhythm with each scoop of snow, each scrape of frozen soil. And then, his fingers touched fabric. He froze. The cold cloth was stiff, brittle against his gloves. He brushed away more snow, his breathing ragged, until a small shape emerged, a faded piece of cloth, pink once perhaps, now dulled to gray. He pulled it gently, and a strip came loose in his hand. It was a child's mitten. His stomach dropped. His eyes flicked to the dog, who stared back with something that looked almost like grief. The soldier whispered, "Dear God, it's a child." The dog whined again, lowering itself back across the grave as if to shield it from the world, from him, from the truth clawing its way out of the frozen earth. The soldier clenched the mitten in his fist, snow melting against his gloves, his mind racing. This wasn't just a mission anymore. This was something darker, something personal. A sound cracked the silence, branches snapping in the distance. His head whipped up, flashlight beam jerking across the trees. For a moment, he thought he saw movement, a shadow slipping between the trunks. But when he focused, there was nothing. Just falling snow. Just silence. The dog growled low, ears pricked toward the same direction. They weren't alone. His chest tightened, instinct screaming. He should call it in now. He should report the grave, the mitten, the possibility of hostile presence nearby. But another part of him, deeper and more primal, urged him to wait. To see what the dog wanted him to see first. He turned back to the mound, forcing his hands to move again. He pushed away more snow, more soil, careful not to disturb too much too quickly. The grave was shallow, not dug with care but with desperation. Whoever had buried this had done so in haste. Another sound, a whisper. Not carried on the wind this time, but closer. Direct. Don't let him find me. The soldier froze, every muscle locking in place. His breath caught in his throat. That voice had been soft, fragile, but unmistakably real. He looked at the dog, searching its face for confirmation that he wasn't losing his mind. The canine's ears twitched, its body lowered into a protective stance, eyes darting to the trees and back to the grave. The soldier's mouth went dry. "Who's here?" he whispered into the darkness. No answer. Only the steady snowfall, the eerie quiet of the forest, and his pounding heart. He lowered his head back to the grave, gripping the mitten tighter. The whisper lingered in his ears, ghost-like, as though the trees themselves had spoken. He didn't know if it was memory, hallucination, or something more. But he knew one thing: the dog believed it. And in this moment, he had to trust the dog more than himself. He swallowed hard, forcing himself to breathe evenly. His mind raced with questions, colliding against one another in the dark. Was the child still alive somehow? Was this grave a decoy? Was he standing in the middle of something far larger than he understood? He reached down, pulling back another layer of frozen dirt, exposing more of the cloth. His stomach turned as he realized the shape beneath was unmistakable, small, fragile, curled in on itself. The dog pressed against him now, close, almost leaning its weight into his shoulder. The soldier closed his eyes for a moment, steadying himself. He hadn't been ready for this. Not tonight. Not ever. He opened them again and whispered, "If you were me, would you keep digging, or walk away right now?" The question wasn't rhetorical. He meant it. Because with every scoop of soil, with every second he stayed here, the forest seemed to grow heavier, darker, as though something was watching, waiting for him to decide. The flashlight flickered once more. The dog growled again. And from somewhere in the distance, he swore he heard footsteps crunching faintly in the snow. The footsteps were faint, maybe wind on the drifts, but the soldier felt them anyway, a rhythm that didn't belong to the night. He rose from the grave on aching legs and swept his flashlight through the pines. The bean-carved flakes struck bark, skimmed a white hump, then found nothing. Beside him, the black canine stood rigid, fur salted with snow, nostrils flaring, a low rumble trapped in his chest. "Show me," the soldier whispered. The dog didn't bolt. He pivoted, careful, angling his muzzle toward the slope where trees thickened and their prints vanished in wind curls. The soldier touched his radio, then let it go. Static would carry. If someone was out there, noise would be surrender. He slid the pink mitten into his inner pocket. The grave remained a white punctuation in the dark, the dog's outline pressed into it like a seal. He wanted to mark the spot, but the storm would erase it. Memory would have to do. "Move," he said, and they did, 3 quiet steps. The canine paused, head cocked. The wind eased and other sounds returned, an icicle ticking, a distant crack as a frozen trunk shifted, the whisper of spindrift. Under that, another sound arrived, measured, careful, not animal. Footfalls. He dropped into a half-crouch, lowering the beam so only its edge traced a path. Snow soaked his knees. He breathed through his nose, air pine-cold and iron-sharp. The dog's ears tracked left, then right, then fixed toward the slope. "Friendly, identify," he called, hard whisper into trees. No answer. The wind shoved back. The canine took the lead, paws stitching a quiet line. The soldier set his boots in the dog's holes. Ahead, the slope broke into a shallow dell hedged by young spruce. Something had bedded there. Scuffed snow lay re-blanketed like a secret put back. "Track," he said. The dog circled, nose close. The circle widened, tightened, and pointed like a compass to a scene where snow had been pressed by small, hurried tread. Not a boot. Too narrow. A child's shoe. Maybe 2 sets, overlapping. He felt the mitten grow heavier against his chest. A whisper leaked through the trees, thinner than breath, "Don't let him find me." It didn't feel like weather. It felt present, accompanied by the muffled hush of a hand over a mouth. He thumbed the flashlight off. Darkness pulled fast. The dog leaned into his leg, waiting. Without sight, sound sharpened. He counted 1, 2, 3, and let the wind settle. There. To the right of the dell, a hiss of fabric, the delicate crumble of crusted snow under a careful weight. He flicked the light on and sliced the beam toward the sound. The cone found trunks, flared on ice, then touched a color that didn't belong, a thin strip of red cotton snagged on a twig. Beneath it, no more than 3 feet high, a curve of something pale vanished behind a stump. "Hey," he said, gentle now, hands lifted. "It's okay." The pale shape jerked. The canine held his ground and let a soft whine thread the quiet. "I won't hurt you," the soldier said. "I'm here because his fingers brushed the dog's shoulder, "found something." "Are you hurt?" Silence gathered. Then a small eye appeared at the stump's edge, glossy in the light. He lowered the beam. For a heartbeat the eye held, then vanished. He saw a knit cap's rim, frost haloing its edge, and the tremor of a shiver. "Can you tell me your name?" he asked. "You're not alone." The dog eased a step forward. No bark, no growl, only the soft tick of claw on ice. A thread of voice returned, so faint he tilted his head to catch it. He said to be quiet. "Who did?" Silence. Then, "He put her in the ground." The soldier's stomach turned to stone. The dog looked up, waiting. "You're safe with us," the soldier said. "I need to know, are you alone?" A breath caught on a sob, crushed small. "No." He shifted the light, letting it gloss the stump's edge. A second face hovered in the dark, younger, nested in a coat folded around it. A baby. Sleeping, or failing at it. The tiny nose glittered with frost. "Okay," he said softly. "Okay." He glanced at the canine. The dog's body changed, no longer hunt still but guard strong, as if he widened to fill the space between the children and everything else. The soldier kneeled, bringing himself level, hands visible. "I'm going to ask you something," he murmured. "If you were in my boots, would you stay hidden, or step toward the light?" The question hung there, an offering. Snow shifted left, abrupt, heavier than any child could make. The dog's head snapped toward the sound, teeth bared in a silent flash. The soldier swept the beam and found a third set of prints crossing the dell, fresh, adult-sized, and a smear of something dark against a birch. He killed the beam and listened. The wind combed the trees. Beneath it, a coat brushed bark. The scent changed, cold, then old smoke, then something metallic and wrong. He tapped the dog's shoulder twice. The canine slid forward, weight low, breath tight as wire. The soldier angled to flank, boots placed into shallow hollows to bury noise. A branch trembled. He lit the beam and pinned a trunk, then another. Nothing. He lowered it back to the stump, the small eye reappeared, wider now. The baby made a kitten sound and went still. "It's all right," he said toward the stump. "Keep your hand on your brother. We're here." He dragged the beam to the birch with the dark smear. It wasn't sap. It stringed and froze. He placed a glove near it and felt cold radiate like a warning. "We need to move," he told the dog, the children, himself. Slow and quiet. From beyond the trees, a low voice arrived, unbothered by cold, "You shouldn't have found this." He didn't answer. He eased the light down, shrinking their glow. Silence answered for him. The dog leaned forward until his nails found bark, a black wedge between threat and small lives. "You can walk away," the voice said, closer now, almost conversational. "Snow covers everything by morning." The soldier breathed once, steady. "Not this." The voice laughed without humor. "Then you'll freeze with them." The canine's growl deepened, low and even, like a motor spinning up. The baby whimpered. The older child whispered again, almost soundless, "Don't leave me." His question rose like a pivot, offered to anyone who could hear through the storm. "If you were standing here, with a grave behind you, 2 children at your knee, and footfalls closing, would you call it in and wait, or move now and gamble everything?" Then a voice came closer, "You can walk away. Snow covers everything by morning." The soldier breathed once. "Not this." The canine's growl deepened, the baby whimpered, the older child whispered, "Don't leave me." Snow hissed. A shape detached from the trees and started down into the dell. The shape broke from the trees slowly, deliberate as if it had all the time in the world. The soldier raised his light, and for the first time, it caught a man. He was tall, shoulders hunched against the snow, a heavy coat draped loose like an animal's pelt. His beard was ice-crusted, eyes hidden beneath a shadowed brow. In one hand he held something metallic, not raised but visible, gleam of steel where moonlight cut through branches. The soldier steadied his stance, flashlight angled low to keep the stranger's eyes in darkness. His other hand hovered near the sidearm strapped to his thigh. Beside him, the canine pressed into the snow, chest forward, lips curled back to bare teeth. The growl inside the dog was low, steady, almost like the pulse of the earth itself. "Stay where you are," the soldier said, voice firm, controlled. The man stopped 5 paces inside the dell. His breath smoked out, steady, as if the cold didn't bother him. His gaze flicked to the mound behind the soldier, then to the stump where the children crouched. A slow smile ghosted his lips. "You shouldn't have come here," the man said. His voice was rough, scraped like gravel. "This place isn't for you." The soldier tightened his grip on the flashlight. "There's a grave in the snow. There are children hiding. Tell me why." The man chuckled softly, a sound that carried no warmth. "Graves keep secrets. Forest keeps secrets. You want to dig them all up?" The soldier didn't answer. His eyes flicked between the stranger's hand and his face, measuring angles, distances. The dog shifted a step closer to the man, shoulders rigid. The children huddled tighter behind the stump, the baby fussing with a thin cry. The man's smile faded. "Quiet them." The soldier's jaw tightened. "They're not yours to command." For the first time, the man's voice sharpened. "Everything in this forest is mine. Even what's under it." The dog barked once, sharp and explosive, shattering the silence. The sound made the children flinch, but it also broke the man's calm facade. He narrowed his eyes, raising the steel object in his hand just slightly. Not a weapon, a shovel. Its edge glinted under the light, crusted with old, frozen dirt. The soldier's stomach knotted. This was the man who had dug that grave. "You'll leave," the man said, gripping the shovel like a staff. "And you'll forget." The soldier lowered the beam of light to the ground between them. His voice dropped to a measured tone. "Or what?" The man tilted his head, the smile returning faintly. "Or you'll join them." Snow fell thicker now, flakes swirling between them like ash. The dog's growl deepened, vibrating against the soldier's leg. In his pocket, the mitten felt like a weight, a reminder of what was already buried. He could call for backup, but how long until they arrived? Minutes? Hours? And what would happen to the children in the meantime? He studied the man's stance. Not military. Not trained. But steady in a different way, the way of someone who believed he had the upper hand because he'd always had it. The soldier leaned slightly toward the children, never taking his eyes off the man. "Listen," he whispered low, "just for them. When I tell you to move, you stay with the dog. He'll keep you safe." The older child's wide eyes blinked at him from the shadows. A tiny nod. The man took another step forward. "I'll give you one chance. Drop the light. Walk away. Leave them." The soldier shook his head once. "Not happening." The man's expression hardened. "Then you've chosen the snow." He shifted the shovel higher, grip tightening. The dog exploded forward a step, snarling, hackles raised like a storm breaking. The soldier steadied him with a quick hand, though every nerve screamed to let the dog loose. The air thickened with silence, broken only by the hiss of falling flakes and the baby's soft whimper. Time stretched. The soldier's voice cut through. "If you were me, standing here with 2 lives behind you and 1 monster in front, would you hold your ground, or strike first?" The question wasn't only for himself. It was for anyone who might hear, for the cold trees bearing witness, for the audience who might one day judge his choice. The man's smile twitched. He tapped the shovel against the ground, a dull thunk that echoed like a heartbeat. "Last chance, soldier." The soldier breathed once, sharp and final. No. Last chance was hers. His hand snapped to his sidearm, drawing fast. The dog lunged at the same instant, a black blur of motion, snow exploding beneath its paws. The man roared, swinging the shovel in a wide arc. Steel met flashlight beam in a clash of sparks and light. The soldier dove left, snow sprang up in a white halo, his weapon raised. And then everything stopped, locked in a freeze frame of chaos, the dog midair, jaws wide, the man twisting with steel, the soldier's finger tightening on the trigger. The children screamed from the stump. The forest seemed to hold its breath. The world shattered into motion. The black K9 hit first, a blur of muscle and teeth, colliding with the man's chest. The stranger grunted, staggering backward, shovel whipping wild through the storm of snow. The soldier rolled to his feet, weapon up, but there was no clean shot, dog and man tangled in violent shapes, spinning in the snow. The shovel slammed down, narrowly missing the dog's spine. The impact shook the ground, sending a spray of ice shards glittering into the air. The K9 twisted, jaws locking onto the man's sleeve, tearing fabric with a guttural snarl. The man roared, his voice carrying over the trees, primal and furious. He yanked his arm back, the shovel swinging again, clumsy but heavy. The soldier lunged forward, his hands snapping out to grab the wooden handle. The 2 men struggled, muscles straining, snow crunching under their boots. "Let it go," the soldier barked, twisting with every ounce of leverage. The man's eyes blazed in the half-light, wild and sunken. "You don't belong here," he spat, forcing the handle downward, nearly pinning the soldier to the frozen earth. The dog leapt again, this time latching onto the man's thigh. A scream tore from the man's throat, raw and animal. Blood darkened the snow, stark against the cold white canvas. The soldier seized the moment, ripping the shovel free and tossing it aside. The stranger stumbled, dropping to one knee. The soldier pressed the muzzle of his sidearm forward, inches from the man's face. "Don't move." His voice was steel, but his breath shook clouds into the air. The man froze, chest heaving, eyes glinting with hate. The dog circled, lips still curled, growl rattling the silence. Behind them, the children whimpered. The baby's cry cut sharp through the night, thin and fragile. The soldier risked a glance toward them. "Stay down. Don't move." That split second was enough. The man lunged, knocking the pistol aside. The weapon fired, the shot tearing into the trees with a thunderous crack. The sound echoed through the forest like a signal flare. Birds erupted from the branches, wings beating against the night. The soldier and the stranger fell into the snow, grappling, fists slamming into bone and muscle. The world narrowed to breath and blood and white flurries of powder. The dog snapped at the man's arm, teeth ripping cloth, flesh. But the stranger was relentless. His fist connected with the soldier's jaw, rattling his skull, making stars burst across his vision. The soldier tasted iron, felt warm blood spill across his tongue. He shoved back, gasping for breath, weapon lost somewhere in the drifts. The man pressed close, his breath rancid, words venomous. "You think you can save them? You can't save anyone. This forest swallows everything." The soldier gritted his teeth, shoving upward with raw strength. Their bodies rolled, trading ground. Snow smeared across their faces, burning cold. The canine struck again, this time seizing the man's wrist. A crunch of bone echoed, sharp and sickening. The stranger howled, twisting in agony. The soldier seized the chance, driving his elbow into the man's ribs until the air left him in a grunt. For a moment, the man lay still, breath hissing through clenched teeth. The soldier staggered back, chest heaving, reaching blindly for his weapon. His fingers closed around the pistol buried in the snow. He leveled it. "It's over." The man's eyes burned through the swirling snow. He spat blood, grinning with teeth cracked and red. "It's never over. She's still out here." The soldier's heart skipped. "Who?" The man's grin widened. "The one who whispers." The dog growled deeper, hackles stiff, as if the words themselves carried weight. The man used the moment. He lunged again, shoulders slamming into the soldier's chest. The pistol fired, the sound splitting the night, but the shot went wide. The soldier fell back into the snow, weapon sliding from his grip once more. The man staggered toward the treeline, bleeding, hunched, but still moving. The shovel lay abandoned, the snow painted in streaks of red. The K9 bounded after him, ready to finish it. But the soldier's voice cracked through the storm. "Hold!" The dog skidded to a stop, chest heaving, eyes burning with instinct. The man disappeared into the pines, shadows swallowing him whole. Silence fell again, broken only by the ragged breathing of man and dog, and the thin wail of the child. The soldier staggered to his knees, every muscle trembling. He turned back to the stump, to the children. The older one clutched the baby tight, eyes wide and terrified. "It's okay," he said, though his voice shook. "He's gone. You're safe." But even as he said it, he knew it wasn't true. The man was still out there. And worse, his words lingered like frostbite, "She's still out here. The one who whispers." The soldier pressed his hand to his side, feeling bruises bloom beneath his gear. He picked up the mitten again, holding it like an anchor. His eyes scanned the forest, every shadow alive with threat. "Come on," he whispered, to the children, to the dog, to himself. "We have to move." The child's voice came small, trembling. "Will he come back?" The soldier didn't answer. Instead, he asked the question echoing in his own skull, "If you were me, would you keep running deeper into the forest with 2 children and a wounded dog, or stay and wait for backup, knowing the one who whispers might already be watching?" Snow fell harder, covering the grave behind them, erasing tracks. The soldier gathered the children close, the dog pressed tight against his side, and together they stepped into the black mouth of the forest. The wind carried faintly, like a sigh, a voice half swallowed by the storm, "Don't let him find me." The storm swallowed them whole. Snow fell heavier now, thick sheets of white blinding in every direction. The soldier pushed forward, one arm cradling the baby close, the other hand gripping the older child's mittened fingers. The K9 ranged ahead, ears pricked, body tense, every step purposeful. His black coat blended into the night until only his pale breath gave him away. Behind them, the grave had vanished beneath the drift. The shovel, the blood, even the footprints, all erased in moments, as if the forest itself wanted to hide what had happened. The older child stumbled but didn't cry out. Her small hand clutched tight to his, cold but determined. The soldier bent low, his voice rough but steady. "Keep walking. Just a little farther. The dog won't let anything touch us." She glanced at the canine, her wide eyes catching the flicker of the dog's gaze back toward her. For a heartbeat, some of the fear left her face. The soldier scanned the dark, pulse quick, every shadow a threat. He could still hear the man's voice, "She's still out here. The one who whispers." It gnawed at him, sharper than the bite of the wind. Who is she? Another child? Another victim? Or something worse? The forest deepened, trees growing denser. Branches bent low under snow, clawing at his shoulders as he passed. His flashlight beam cut narrow tunnels of light, but the storm chewed them away almost instantly. The canine halted suddenly, nose high, chest stiff. A sound rolled through the woods, faint, deliberate, almost like a lullaby hummed beneath breath. The soldier froze. The child stiffened beside him. "You hear that?" he whispered. The little girl nodded, lips trembling. "That's her." His gut twisted. "Who?" The girl's voice cracked, almost inaudible. "The one who whispers at night." The soldier shifted the baby in his arms, tightening his grip on his weapon. "Where?" The girl pointed with a shaking hand. "There." He followed her gesture. Beyond a tangle of snow-burdened branches, the forest opened into a small clearing. In the center stood a half-buried cabin, its roof collapsed, chimney leaning, door hanging from rusted hinges. Smoke no longer rose from it, but faint tracks scarred the snow around the entrance. The humming grew clearer, a voice soft, lilting, too calm for the storm. Words drifted, broken by the wind. "Hush now, don't you cry." The soldier's pulse hammered. He crouched low, bringing the children down with him. The canine growled, quiet, controlled, eyes fixed on the cabin. "You stay right here," the soldier told the girl, his voice barely audible. "Keep your brother close. Don't move unless the dog tells you." The girl's eyes shimmered with tears. "But..." He squeezed her hand, firm. "Trust him. He'll keep you safe." The dog leaned against the child for a moment, pressing steady warmth into her side, as if confirming the soldier's promise. Then he turned back, waiting for the command. The soldier breathed once, cold air burning his lungs. He slid forward through the snow, body low, flashlight off. The humming did not stop. It grew clearer, wrapping around him, filling the forest until he felt it vibrating in his bones. "Don't let him take you away." The words coiled through the dark, softer than breath, but unmistakable. At the cabin door, he paused. The wood was scarred with gouges, as if clawed at by desperate hands. He leaned closer, pistol ready. His reflection in the splintered window was a ghost. Inside, movement. A figure, small, hunched, wrapped in rags, rocked back and forth on the floor. The voice came from her, soft, fractured. Long strands of hair spilled across her face, matted with frost. Her arms cradled something invisible, rocking as though holding a child that wasn't there. The soldier pushed the door slowly, hinges groaning. The figure stilled. The humming stopped. The silence cut sharper than the wind. Then the woman's head turned. Her face emerged through the curtain of hair, eyes wide, unblinking, hollow with exhaustion. Her lips trembled, but no sound came. The soldier stepped inside, gun steady, boots crunching against old boards. The air was heavy, warmer than outside but damp, the smell of earth and decay lacing it. "Who are you?" he asked. Her eyes flicked to the baby in his arms. For a second, something alive sparked in them, longing, hunger, recognition. Then it was gone, replaced by despair. "You shouldn't have brought them here," she whispered. The soldier's grip tightened on the pistol. "Why? Who are you?" Her gaze shifted past him, out toward the forest. "He's coming." The soldier froze. The canine barked once from outside, urgent and sharp. The children cried out, fear crackling in their voices. The woman's head bowed again. She rocked faster, whispering now without melody, words spilling like frostbite prayers. "Don't let him find me. Don't let him find me. Don't let him find me." The soldier's stomach dropped. Those were the same words he'd heard in the snow, the same words the girl had whispered earlier. Outside, a branch snapped, loud, deliberate. Footsteps. Heavy. The canine's growl split the night, raw and guttural. The soldier swung back toward the door, heart thundering. His question ripped out, half to the woman, half to himself, half to the universe. If you were standing here, 2 children behind you, a whispering woman in front, and footsteps closing in from the dark, would you confront her, or get the kids out before it's too late? The woman's whisper rose into a shriek, fractured and piercing. "Don't let him find me." And then the doorframe shuddered as something heavy slammed against it. The doorframe shook again, harder this time. Dust rained from the sagging rafters, snow billowed in through the broken cracks of the cabin's walls. The soldier turned fully, baby held tight, pistol aimed at the splintering wood. The older child clutched the canine outside, trying to keep the baby's cries muffled with her small hand. The whispering woman on the floor kept rocking, her words breaking into gasps. "Don't let him find me. Don't let him find me." The door buckled once more, and then it gave way. Wood splintered with a sharp crack. The stranger filled the doorway like a shadow poured from the forest. His coat was torn from the fight, dark with blood along the thigh, but his eyes glinted with renewed fire. In one hand he clutched a jagged axe, its blade chipped but lethal, frost clinging to the steel. The dog's snarl rose into a roar, lunging forward before the soldier could even command. He hit the man square, teeth snapping inches from his wrist. The stranger staggered but swung the axe in a wide arc. The soldier dove sideways, shielding the baby, the blade slicing air where his head had been. The woman screamed, a sound that ripped through the cabin like broken glass. She crawled backward, arms clutching empty air as though protecting a child only she could see. "Stay back," the soldier shouted, leveling the pistol. The stranger grinned, blood staining his teeth. "You won't shoot me." "Not with them watching." His gaze flicked toward the children pressed against the doorway behind the dog. The soldier's jaw tightened. He didn't move, didn't lower the weapon. The axe came down again, this time splintering the rotten floorboards inches from his boot. Snow sprayed through the cracks as if the forest itself wanted in. The soldier fired. The shot thundered in the close cabin, deafening. The bullet tore into the doorframe, shaving splinters off the wood. The stranger staggered back a step, but his grin widened. "You missed." The soldier's hand shook, not from fear, but from the ache of knowing he was one wrong choice from losing them all. The canine lunged again, this time clamping onto the man's forearm. The stranger bellowed in pain, slamming his elbow down against the dog's head, once, twice. The dog's yelp was sharp, but he didn't let go. The older child screamed. "Stop!" The sound cut through everything, the snow, the gunfire, even the woman's frantic rocking. For a heartbeat, the stranger froze, eyes flicking to the girl. Something flickered there, not guilt, but memory. The soldier saw it. He pressed forward, voice low and dangerous. "Who is she to you? Why are they here?" The man snarled, wrenching free from the dog's bite, blood pouring down his sleeve. He raised the axe high, shouting over the storm, "They were never meant to leave." The woman on the floor shrieked in answer, clawing at her hair, eyes rolling white. "Don't let him find me." The axe came down again. The soldier fired, this time deliberate. The bullet clipped the man's shoulder, spinning him sideways into the wall. The axe crashed to the floorboards, biting into rotten wood. The K9 lunged once more, pinning the man down, teeth bared an inch from his throat. The soldier rushed forward, gun still steady. "It's over." The man laughed, wet and broken, blood bubbling at his lips. "No, soldier. You've just begun. The grave was only one." The soldier's stomach twisted. His eyes flicked to the woman, still rocking, still whispering. "What does he mean?" She lifted her face, tears freezing on her skin. "There are more." The soldier's chest heaved. He turned the gun back toward the stranger. "How many?" The man coughed, grinning through crimson teeth. "You'll see." The storm howled through the open door. The children whimpered. The dog's growl deepened, teeth pressing closer to the man's throat. The soldier stood there, every nerve screaming with decision. He could end it now, one pull of the trigger, and the man would never threaten another child again. But if he killed him, the answers about the graves, the whispers, the woman, they'd die with him. He steadied his breath, finger tightening on the trigger. And then the man whispered, almost tender, "She's already chosen you." The soldier froze. "What?" The man's smile widened, bloody and cracked. "She'll whisper to you next." The woman screamed again, curling into herself. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's mind raced. Was she warning him or begging him? The K9 snarled louder, body trembling with restraint. The soldier asked himself, and through him, the question passed to everyone watching, listening, holding their breath with him: if you were standing here, would you pull the trigger and silence the man forever, or hold your fire and risk the whispers claiming you too? The wind shrieked through the cabin, snow swirling like ash. The man's laughter rose into it, cracked and terrible. The soldier's finger trembled on the trigger. The pistol stayed leveled, the soldier's finger poised against the trigger. The man's laughter rattled through the ruined cabin, seeping into the cracks like smoke. The dog's jaws hovered over the man's throat, teeth gleaming in the dim light, a single growl vibrating deep and steady. Snow whistled through the gaps in the broken roof. The storm outside howled like a chorus, but beneath it, the soldier heard something else, low, rhythmic, deliberate. The whisper again. It wasn't the woman this time. It wasn't the man. It came from everywhere at once. The rafters. The floorboards. The air itself. "Don't let him find me, don't let him find me." The soldier's chest tightened. The words pressed against his skull, crawling beneath his skin. His hand shook despite himself. The older child whimpered behind him, clinging to the dog's hind leg for courage. The whispering woman rocked faster, clawing at her arms until blood streaked pale skin. "She's here," she moaned. "She's always here." The soldier barked over the storm. "What does it mean?" The woman's hollow eyes locked on him. "She whispers to anyone who listens long enough. And once you hear her, you belong to her." The man on the floor grinned through broken teeth. "Now you understand." His breath hitched, wet and heavy. That grave was hers. And she doesn't want to be alone. The soldier's stomach turned. He thought of the black earth mounded beneath the snow, of the mitten lying limp, of the dog lying across it like a guardian. The whisper grew louder. It crawled in his ear like icy breath. "Don't let him find me." The soldier staggered, pressing his free hand against his temple, baby still wailing in the crook of his arm. The older child gasped. "You hear her too, don't you?" Her words froze him. He turned to her, searching her wide eyes. They shimmered with fear and recognition. "How long?" he whispered. "She talks to us when it's dark," the girl said. "When he's near." She pointed at the stranger pinned by the dog. "She tells us to hide. She says he's the one." The man snarled, thrashing against the dog's weight. "Lies. She lies. She's poisoned them." The woman screamed, her voice raw. "No. She saved them. She saved me. The soldier's mind spun. Two versions of truth, both drenched in madness. One claimed the whispers protected. The other claimed they corrupted. The pistol trembled in his grip. He wanted clarity. But the only clarity he had was this: the whispers had found him too. The canine barked once, sharp and warning. The dog's ears flicked toward the trailing outside, muscles tense. The soldier risked a glance through the shattered doorway. In the storm's haze, a figure stood among the trees. Small. Motionless. A child's shape. His pulse spiked. He blinked, snow swirling across his vision. But the figure didn't move. Didn't flinch. Didn't breathe. Then, faintly, impossibly, it raised a hand, tiny, pale, waving slow and deliberate. The soldier's breath hitched. He looked down at the baby in his arms, then back at the girl by his side. Both present. Both real. So who was outside? The woman on the floor began to laugh, broken and hollow. She's showing herself. She's chosen you. The stranger bellowed, struggling against the dog, his voice thunderous. Don't look. Don't answer her. The soldier turned away from the trees, forcing his focus back inside. His voice cracked, desperate. What happens if I answer? The woman's smile spread, terrifying in its softness. She comes closer. The whisper pressed against his skull again, louder now. Don't let him find me. He wanted to cover his ears. Wanted to shout back. Instead, he swallowed hard, shaking his head. I don't belong to her. But the child beside him tugged his sleeve, her tiny voice trembling. She says you do. The cabin groaned as if the forest itself exhaled. Snow spilled through the roof, burying the rotten floorboards. The cold deepened, biting down to the bone. The dog's growl shifted, uneasy now, tail rigid. He wasn't just guarding anymore, he was afraid. The soldier knelt low, drawing the children close, baby squirming in his arm. He looked into the girl's eyes, steady, searching. Listen to me. If she speaks again, don't answer her. Do you understand? Tears rolled down her cheeks. She nodded, but her lips trembled. The stranger laughed now, broken but triumphant. It's too late. You heard her. You all heard her. The soldier leveled the gun again, his voice iron through the storm. Then tell me how to stop it. The man's grin widened, madness gleaming in his eyes. You can't stop her. The only choice is whether you die with her, or for her. The whisper surged, louder than the storm now, filling every corner of the cabin. Don't let him find me. The soldier clutched the baby tighter, felt the girl bury her face against his side. The dog pressed forward, snarling so loud it rattled the air. And then, clear as daylight, the whisper changed. It spoke not to all of them, but to him. Help me. The soldier's breath froze in his chest. It wasn't the same refrain. It wasn't the same command. It was a plea. A child's plea. His eyes darted to the trees outside, where the figure still stood. Small hand raised. Still waving. His finger tightened on the trigger, every nerve screaming for an answer. If you were him, he asked himself, and the invisible audience watching with him, would you step outside into the storm to face her, or barricade yourself in with the living and risk her breaking through? The baby's cry pierced the silence. The girl clutched his sleeve. The woman screamed, the man laughed, and the dog barked. And then the cabin door blew inward, snow and wind tearing through as if the forest itself had forced its way inside. The cabin door burst inward, snow blasting across the room like a wave of knives. The soldier staggered back, shielding the baby against his chest, his pistol raised through the flurry. The dog barked savagely, teeth bared, body crouched for the strike. Through the storm, the figure at the treeline stepped closer. Each footfall was silent, yet the crunch of snow echoed inside his skull. The silhouette grew clearer, shaped like a child, but wrong somehow. Too still. Too precise. The woman on the floor shrieked and covered her head. "Don't let her in. Don't let her in." The man pinned under the dog laughed, his bloodied teeth gleaming. "You can't stop her. She's already chosen him." The soldier's chest heaved. The figure approached, small hand still raised. The snow swirled around her, but none clung to her hair, none touched her clothes. It was as if the storm moved for her. She stopped just beyond the threshold, face veiled in shadow. Her voice slipped into the room, softer than breath. "Help me." The older girl clutched his sleeve tighter, trembling. "She's the one who whispers," she whispered herself, barely audible. The soldier tightened his grip on the pistol, eyes locked on the figure. "What are you?" The child stepped closer, the shadows peeling away. Her face emerged pale and gaunt, eyes wide and glassy, lips blue with cold. She looked no older than 7. A faded ribbon clung to her hair, its color bled away by time. But her eyes weren't the eyes of a child. They were deep, ancient, carrying something endless and hollow. She looked straight at him. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's pulse spiked. He turned his head, just slightly, toward the man on the floor. "She's talking about you." The man snarled, trying to wrench free of the dog. "She lies. She always lies. She feeds on fear." The soldier looked back at the girl in the doorway. She tilted her head, expression blank. "He buried me." The soldier's breath caught. His mind flashed back to the grave, the mitten, the dog lying across it. The child lifted her hand again, fingers trembling. "You found me. You can help me." The woman in the corner screamed, rocking violently. "Don't listen. Don't answer her." The soldier's hand shook. He wanted clarity, but all he had were voices tearing at him from every corner, the man, the woman, the whisperer herself. The baby whimpered. The older girl whispered, "She sounds like my sister." The soldier's blood ran cold. "What do you mean?" The girl buried her face in his coat. "She whispers the same way. The same words." The soldier's stomach twisted. Had the whispers spread? Were they inside all of them now? The dog barked again, sharp and guttural, snapping him back. The animal pressed harder on the man's chest, growling with such ferocity it rattled the floorboards. But his eyes flicked toward the figure in the doorway. Even the dog wasn't sure. The soldier took a breath, steadying himself. "If you're real," he said, voice low, "prove it. Tell me something only a child would know." The whisperer tilted her head again. For a moment, her expression softened. "I had a doll," she said. "She had one eye. I kept her under the floorboards so he wouldn't take her away." The man roared, thrashing against the dog. "Enough. Don't listen to her lies." The soldier's eyes narrowed. He aimed the gun at the man's chest. "Is it true?" The man spat blood, his voice cracked and desperate. "She's not a child. She's the forest now. She'll take you too." The child stepped one pace inside, her bare feet silent on the boards. The air grew colder instantly, frost crawling up the walls like veins. Her eyes locked on the soldier's, and the whisper pressed into him again, this time different. "Please, don't leave me here." The soldier's knees weakened. For a heartbeat, he saw something in her face, not the hollow eyes, not the unnatural stillness. Something human. Something broken. He heard his own voice, low, trembling, "If I help you, will you leave them alone?" The girl blinked slowly. Her lips parted. "Yes." The storm stilled outside. Silence dropped heavy. Then, without warning, the man beneath the dog lunged upward with a guttural cry. The axe slipped free, swinging wildly. The dog snapped back with a furious bite, blood spraying across the boards. The soldier spun, pistol locked on him, baby screaming in his arm. The whisper surged, louder than ever, rattling his skull. "Choose, choose." The woman shrieked. The man roared. The child stared. And the soldier knew the next breath would decide everything. Would he shoot the man to silence the violence, or reach for the whisperer's outstretched hand and risk losing his soul? The storm crashed back in, rattling the broken cabin like bones. The soldier's finger curled around the trigger, every muscle locked. Time slowed. The cabin was a storm of sound and silence, dog snarling, baby wailing, wind howling, whispers coiling like threads in his skull. The bloodied man heaved against the dog, axe raised again. The pale child in the doorway lifted her hand higher, eyes unblinking, whisper pressing directly into him, "Choose." The soldier's breath hitched. He had seconds. He had to decide. He closed his eyes, and for a heartbeat, saw faces, his own squad mates from years past, gone in flashes of fire and dust. His own daughter, once cradled in his arms, her laughter echoing in memory. The children before him now, trembling, watching him as if he was the last wall between them and the dark. He opened his eyes. The gun fired. The shot struck the axe-wielding man square in the chest. The impact hurled him back against the wall, his body slamming into rotten timber. He coughed, a red spray misting the air. His axe clattered harmlessly to the floor. The dog pressed down, snarling until the man stopped moving. Until the silence settled. The whisper faltered. The pale child at the doorway blinked, her head tilting in something like surprise. The storm outside softened, the shriek of the wind dropping to a steady hum. Frost on the walls stilled. She lowered her hand. The soldier's chest heaved. He lowered the pistol, still smoking. The baby squirmed in his arm, crying softer now. The older girl clung to his sleeve, eyes locked on the figure in the doorway. The child whispered again, but softer, fragile, "Thank you." Her outline wavered like smoke caught in wind. For a moment, she looked less hollow, more human. A child again. She smiled faintly, sadly, then turned. Step by step, she walked back into the treeline. The storm swallowed her shape, until only the ribbon in her hair gleamed faintly, then disappeared too. The cabin fell quiet. The soldier lowered to his knees, baby pressed against his chest. The dog patted back, muzzle bloody, and sat close, chest heaving. The older girl sobbed into his coat, trembling with relief. The woman in the corner had stilled too. Her rocking slowed, her voice silenced. She stared blankly at the empty doorway, lips trembling. "She's gone," she whispered. "She's gone." The soldiers scanned the cabin. The bloodied man lay still, his chest unmoving. The axe was half buried in the frost-slick boards. For the first time in hours, or maybe years, the soldier felt the weight of silence. Not menacing. Not filled with whispers. Just silence. He let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. The girl pulled back, her tear-streaked face turning up to him. "Is it over?" she asked. He brushed damp hair from her forehead, his voice low, steady. "For now." The dog shifted closer, pressing against them, warm despite the frost clinging to his coat. His eyes met the soldier's, steady, loyal. They had both carried too many burdens tonight. The woman crawled closer, hesitant, as though testing whether she was free. "She doesn't whisper anymore," she said. "Do you hear it?" The soldier shook his head. "No." For the first time, the woman smiled faintly, weary, broken, but real. She looked at the children, then at him. "You saved them." The soldier glanced at the grave outside, memory flashing of the dog lying across it. he knew saving was only partial. Some wounds would never close. But maybe, just maybe, the ones left breathing could learn to live again. He gathered the children closer, his arm heavy around them. The baby had drifted into soft whimpers, exhausted. He rose slowly, joints aching, and looked out into the storm. The snow still fell, but softer now. The forest no longer whispered, it only breathed. The soldier turned back, his voice firm but quiet. "We leave at first light. Together." The woman nodded, tears streaking her cheeks. The girl pressed against him, clinging as if she'd never let go. The dog stood, shaking frost from his coat, then padded to the doorway. He looked out into the trees, ears forward, then back at the soldier. Guarding. Waiting. Always ready. The soldier knew this night would stay with him forever. Not just the battle, not just the whispers, but the moment he realized something larger than himself, that survival isn't just about breathing, it's about carrying others through the dark when no one else will. He shifted the baby, tightened his hold on the girl, and let the silence linger. And as he did, his thoughts drifted outward, toward those who might hear this story someday. He thought of the weight of whispers, the choice to stand or fall, the courage it takes to step into someone else's nightmare. He knew, deep down, that sharing this mattered. That maybe, just maybe, someone out there needed this story as much as he once needed to tell it. If you've walked with me this far, his voice softened, almost carried to the unseen, then you've carried part of it too. And if you want to keep walking with us, stay close. The wind hushed, the fireless cabin cold but no longer haunted. The soldier closed his eyes, resting for the first time in what felt like years. Morning would come. And with it, a chance to begin again.